I want to show you how you can use Illustrator to get an AutoCAD drawing ready for a presentation. This is the CAD drawing that you downloaded from the assignment directions. One thing I want you to notice is how the arcs and circles are showing up as angles. That's because the program is just saving RAM by doing that. All you have to do is type RE, well, you get the regen command, REGEN is another version, another way to get the same thing. As soon as you input that, you'll see that everything smooths out. So it's the first step you really want to take. If you open this file, make sure you're aware that there are some elevations over here that you need to include. I provided a file in doc sharing for you where I've already moved them. You might want to use that instead. It's easy to move them, but it just saves you a step if you use this. It's really easy to copy and paste. So here I'm just making a selection of everything here. I'm going to clipboard and copy with base point, and I'm just going to use that corner as my base point. Then I'm going to jump over to Illustrator, and here you can see I've already pasted something. Here I'm going to make a new file and paste it in. All I did was use Control V as in violin, but you can also go to the edit menu and choose paste. It'll do the same thing. This is not at scale anymore, not at all. If you want to scale it up, the best thing for you to do is to use the scale command on the main tool palette. You double click on that while your graphics are selected. You can choose, well, let's say 300%. It'll give you a uniform scaling. Click OK, and there you go. It blows it up. And fortunately, that didn't go off the edge. If it had, all I'd have to do is just move it over using the black arrow. Now, what a lot of people like to do is just use the bounding box to rescale, but the problem with that is if you are a little bit lazy about it, or if you do it wrong, you end up with a distorted graphic like this. Once you do this, the CAD plan is no longer valid. You've basically just ruined it, and you really can't use it anymore in your presentation. So what I'm going to do is undo it with the Command Z, and if you really want to use the bounding box, as many people like to do, pull from the corner and hold down the Shift key, and that's going to maintain the proportions correctly. Alright, I still recommend that you use the scale tool. It's more surefire, but if you insist on using the bounding box, then just please be careful. Pull from the corner, use the Shift key while you're doing it. Now, it's very easy to get rid of all these colors. A lot of people are a little lazy about this, but there's really no reason to be. All you have to do is select everything. These boxes down here, this one is for fills, this one is for strokes. The fills, I'm going to select it, I'm going to click on that little slash button. That gets rid of any fills that are in here. You don't want any fills on here. Then I'm going to click on my stroke box, and double clicking on it is going to open the color picker. I'm going to choose a really dark gray, something very close to black. That changes out all your colors right there. And at that point, you could really go ahead and use this in your presentation. The problem is that it's grouped, but that's easy to change. But it's nice if you can break things out into separate layers. And there's really a very easy way to do that. I'm just going to back up using Control or Command Z. Alright, there we are back to the version with the colors. And first I'm going to select everything again. I'm going to choose Ungroup. And then I can do, for example, I can move that furniture up into its own layer. Down here at the bottom of my layers palette, I have this new layer button, so I'm just going to add some layers. I'm going to call this one Furniture. And all I have to do is just select one little bit of the furniture because it has its own color. Then I can go to Select. Then all I have to do is come up to the Select menu and use Select Same stroke color, and that gets all the furniture. And then to move all of that to the furniture layer, if I open this, you can see this is kind of a big mess because there's so much in here, but Illustrator makes it really easy for you. This little color box represents everything over here that's selected, so all I have to do is move that little color box up. You see how it turned red and the selections turn red? That's because this layer has a red selection designation. It doesn't actually turn those lines red. So the nice thing about that is then I can manipulate those individually. I can turn them off individually. I can lock them individually. And that's just kind of nice. I can do the same thing with my walls. The walls here are mostly black. So I can do select same stroke color. And then I can move that up here to layer 3. And then I'm going to call layer 3 walls. So this is kind of nice because it just gives you some nice flexibility. It lets you see the individual components of your plan a little more clearly. And if you do this, you can also get an idea of what you have and haven't done. Down here, these are the bathroom tiles. So I can do the same thing there. Select same stroke color. Move that up here. So do that for each thing. Don't forget these yellow ADA symbols, because a lot of students miss those entirely. So move those to their own layer. Once you have everything put on its own layer, you can go in and change the stroke color. And just make sure you change everything. Once you've changed everything, of course, it becomes easier to see everything. It doesn't become distracting to have all those colors anymore. It just looks better for your presentation. Remember also to think about your line weight. Set an appropriate line weight for your graphics, and also, see, it looks like it didn't get the text. I'm not sure why. We'll do select same stroke color. Yeah, that must be an optical illusion. It didn't look black, but I guess it is. Okay, so yeah, do those things, get things separated onto their own layers, get the color changed, make sure you're regenerating before you bring it over to Illustrator so that you get nice smooth looking circles and arcs in your drawing. At this point, you can either make selections of individual things like your elevations, just like this. You can copy and paste them from here into another drawing. You can save this out as an EPS. If you want to go to PowerPoint, you can save it out as a PDF. There's lots of different things you can do. You can also just select it as a high quality JPEG to put into a presentation, but EPS is often a much better file format for some things like PowerPoint. If you use an EPS, you're going to maintain your vectors, and that's going to keep nice clean looking lines. As soon as you rasterize to a format like JPEG, like if you do save for web, as soon as you do something like JPEG or GIF or any of these are all raster formats. These are all going to make your CAD graphics go a little fuzzy and maybe a little bit light. So just make sure you're paying attention to those issues as you go. If your board is only talking about one area, for example, the reception desk, it's fine. If you want to make a selection of that, you can always copy it, make a new file, and then paste that out as an individual piece, and that way if you're talking about just this area, you have a nice enlarged plan graphic of that area. And this text still looks blue to me. Not sure why that is, but at least it's a darker color that looks similar to the black. It is blue. You because there's a fill on it. So I'm going to take, okay, there we go. As soon as I take that fill out, yeah, it's a little bit problematic. I'll change that to a dark gray, and that should be a lot better. Okay, so those are some pointers for you, things to think about for getting a good quality graphic. If your lines seem a little too thin, you always have the option to come up here and increase them a little, and just the point is to get a nice clean looking plan with sharp looking lines and readable text.